1010 WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM. HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Welcome to the Our Legacy Matters show, where we'll discuss how to secure, maintain, and transfer wealth to future generations. I am your host, Attorney Sherry Fleming. Now let's tune in. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Our Legacy Matters show. It's your host, Sherry Fleming. And again, while I am a Maryland-based attorney, I am not your attorney. So I'm going to always encourage you to seek professional services for anything that you hear on this show. And today, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Every show, I am encouraging you to seek professional services, professional advisors, that of an attorney, a real estate broker, a tax professional, such as a CPA or a financial advisor. And over the course of the last week, there's been a recurring theme in my practice. It's not new, but it's something that's just been coming up in a lot of places. And that is, individuals are not using professional advisors to really guide them on a regular basis, which I'm seeing that there are some really big legal and tax issues that are happening just because individuals are not utilizing professional advisors. And so I really want to know why. So if you're interested in engaging in conversation, please feel free to call in 410-481-1010. Again, the number here is 410-481-1010. I'm really interested in understanding why gainfully employed individuals are not using professional advisors for financial planning, to include retirement planning, attorneys for estate planning, tax planning, CPAs for tax planning. What is the real cause of that? And so, like I said, it's been something that's it comes up frequently, but it came up more than enough this week for me to want to address it on this show. And so another thing that I read not too long ago, there is a report because one of the reasons why people say they don't use professional advisors because they don't need it. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of assets. I don't have, wealth where I really need advice. My tax situation is not complicated. I'll use TurboTax. My estate planning shouldn't be complicated. I'll go to LegalZoom. I'll go to Google to find information instead of using a professional who typically is required to be licensed and studied in a particular area. And so about last year, I came across this study. It's called Philanthropy Always Sounds Like Someone Else, a portrait of high net worth donors of color, and it is produced and published by the Donors of Color Network. And so one of my many hats, one hat that I wear is that of an attorney or advisor. Another hat that I wear is a philanthropic consultant or charitable advisor, where I help charities identify donors and create strategies to receive donations. And I also help donors really identify the most strategic way for them to support the causes that they love. And this could be with individuals of varying net worth. And so through that field of work, I came across this study, and I find it to be very important. And I also put it on the articles page of my website because it is one of the only studies that I've been able to find that profiles donors of color or individuals of color who are what is considered high net worth. And so let's first define what is donors of color for the purpose of the study. The study really focuses on the BIPOC community, and BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, which includes the races of Black / African American, South Asian or other Asian, multicultural or mixed cultures, Latinx, and again, indigenous individuals to America. And what qualifies as high net worth? This is a question that I've been asking since I entered the industry. What exactly is high net worth and ultra high net worth? And it really does depend on the context. But for the purposes of this study, the sample size was over 100 individuals who are members of the BIPOC community that had the capacity to give $50,000 per year or more than that per year. And so the study looked at liquid investable assets. And so I talked about this on one show, but I'll create a distinction again between liquid assets and illiquid assets. And so when you think about liquid assets, you think about liquid. What does liquid do? Liquid pours easily from one container to another. Liquid pours easily. Okay. So things that are illiquid do not pour over as easily. So a liquid asset would be cash or any type of security or stock that can be easily turned into cash in maybe less than a week. You can have these things sold and turned into cash. That's a quick turnaround. That's a quick pour. And so those things are liquid assets. Illiquid assets are assets that eventually will turn into cash, but they're not as easily converted into cash. And so most real estate is considered to be an illiquid asset. And last week we discussed what is real estate. It's not just a house. Real estate is the land. It's the infrastructure on the land, everything underneath the land or within the land, the minerals and the subsurface rights, as well as the air above the land or the infrastructure. And so this particular study studies those individuals who reported, more than half of them reported their liquid investable assets, their assets that are easy to pour over and invest, being between $1 million and $10 million. And so this is the only study that I know of or that I've researched that had direct contact and interviewed over a considerable amount of donors of varying cultures, but who would be considered of color or of the BIPOC community, who are considered high net worth. I have not seen a study like this anyplace else. But when I read the study, and I also participated in a couple of presentations by the individuals who did the study, it was a light bulb that went off for me. It really gave credence to my experience as an African American estate planning attorney, as a philanthropic consultant. And what it highlighted, or one of the things that it highlighted, is that it didn't really matter how much assets or the net worth of individuals of color. We are less likely to have professional advisory circles or professional advisors. So from this report, I do want to read some of the findings. One finding, donors of color. And again, this particular study is the only study that I know of that portrays high net worth individuals of color. But this particular study is really geared to highlighting the BIPOC community as a force in the world of philanthropy. And so when I say donors, I'm reading this report because it is specific to philanthropy. But again, it is the only thing that I found that studied individuals of color in relation to their wealth. And so the first finding, donors of color in the sample were most frequently first generation wealth creators, and often the people in their families of origin who had crossed into a new social economic class. I can relate to that for myself and for most of my clients. Second finding, nearly every single individual high net worth donor of color that was interviewed had personally experienced racism, discrimination, or bias based on the color of their skin, their country of origin, their immigration status, or their accent. Again, this was confirmation for me for what I and my family members have experienced, as well as my client base. Third finding, there's a culture of giving, and every donor interviewed shared stories of how they, their parents, grandparents, and community have approached money, generosity, and the sharing of resources. Again, my experience is that we give, and we give in very varying ways, and we support our family, which is not often seen as philanthropy. Philanthropy meaning love, meaning charity. It all has the same basis. And so we give differently, essentially what the report says. Fourth finding, alongside giving to traditional 501c3 organizations, donors gave to family and friends, gave to education, gave through religious institutions, gave to political causes and campaigns, and gave to their communities via giving circles. Again, something that I've expressed. And all expressed a desire to be more effective donors, but very few had worked with professional philanthropic advisors. And it is also noted that very few work with professional advisors, period, in the way of financial planning, estate planning. Some of the stats and the studies, these donors did not have estate plans. These individuals within a BIAPA community who were considered high net worth, again, with investable assets within the $1 million to $10 million range. These individuals did not have advisors and did not estate plan. And the final finding I don't want to skip over is that the population that was interviewed was highly networked, often through professional and fraternal organizations, but were not networked in philanthropic communities, nor were they networked with one another. And this is how the Donors of Color Network came to be, to create a networking community for high net worth earners of color who desire to be philanthropic and who wanted to communicate with one another. And so this finding, again, I allude to it, even though it is specific to philanthropy, because it's the only thing that I have that studies us, individuals of color who have branched in and moved into a different socioeconomic group, but still, from what I see, have some things we need to unlearn, or some things we need to learn. And so that brings me to the topic again of why are we not using professional advisors in our finance? I don't have an answer. I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I want you to call in. I've put it on my social media and my website, because I'm really looking for some information, or maybe to even prick your mind to say, why am I not using a professional advisor? What is stopping me? And so you may say, I may not be at a place where I need to estate plan, even though I've already said everyone over 18 needs to estate plan. I may not need an attorney yet. Fine. I can go with you there. But if you are earning income, you definitely need some type of financial planner, some type of financial advisor to help you reach your financial goals, to help you prepare for retirement, pay off college debt, save for building a family once you have a family, home ownership, college planning for children. These are all life events that most people want to happen, but for some reason don't take the steps necessary to adequately prepare. And I don't quite understand why. Again, the first answer that I'm given is that I don't have enough money. Well, what is enough? What is enough to begin to plan? If you have income coming in, you have to work with what it is that you have, and you have to be content and comfortable with what it is that you have. So if you're employed and your employer offers a retirement program, are you participating in that retirement program? And if not, why not? Have you not been told to? Do you not think you're going to retire? And the reason why I bring that up is because if you are participating in an employer's retirement plan, there's a financial professional readily available to speak with you, to provide you with advice and some consultation about how to build your wealth for retirement. Now, I meet with a lot of individuals who are nearing the retirement age, 50, 55, 60, at retirement age 65, even older. I would say the average age is about 60, 65, where I start getting phone calls from individuals saying, you know what, I know that this is something that I should do because at the great age of 65, I think a light bulb went off that they're not getting any younger and that they're only getting older, and retirement should be nearer than what they anticipate. And so when I get that call, there are a considerable amount of individuals who have not prepared for retirement. They've done the other life things, such as purchase real estate, have a primary residence, maybe even have an investment property. They have funded their kids through high school, private school, funded their kids through college. But because they funded those things, they did not fund retirement. And so they're faced with this challenge because they are ready to slow down and prepare to stop working, but they cannot afford to stop working because they now have a lifestyle that they're accustomed to, that they desire to keep. And they're forced with this reality that they're probably going to have to work another 20 to 30 years in order to create the retirement that they believe is sufficient to maintain their present day life, not realizing that the price of money or the value of money changes over time. And so when I encounter these individuals, the first thing I say is, hey, you need a financial advisor. I, as the attorney, am not equipped in this area to help you carry the one to figure out how much money you need to put away and the right vehicles to use to put them away. You need a financial advisor. And oftentimes, I am the first one saying this to them. And I can't help but wonder, how did you work over the course of 40 years? If someone's in their 60s and they've been working since their 20s, how did you work all of these years and miss this point of retirement? Was it not missed? It just what you didn't think you had enough to put away? That is what I hear from people my age. What I hear from people my age is, yeah, I know I should be saving for retirement. However, I just don't have the fund. I need all of my income now to maintain the life that I have. And what I typically tell them is, you need to change the life that you have to put away funds for retirement specifically. If you're single, you don't have children, that's a whole nother thing. If you have children and you have a family to support, even if you do, I think I mentioned in one of the prior episodes the advice that my husband received with his first job that he just followed. And that advice was to max out his retirement plan annually. Every year, you can have your employer send a specific amount of money to a retirement plan that is not taxed, that lowers your taxable income for that year. And those funds that are sent to that retirement plan are invested and they grow over the course of years, that they're invested. This is how retirement and any investment works for that matter. And so my husband did that. And over time, we were able to see the benefit of that. I mentioned that when I started working, we already had one child, and we were robbing Peter to pay Paul to try to make it work. And I do the finances in our household, or we do them together, but I do the day to day. We make decisions together. And so in me trying to rob Peter to make Paul, to make our small family work at that time, I said to myself, I cannot afford to put away for retirement. But I'm in this industry and I know better. Right. And so I had to force myself to start somewhere. And so with my retirement plan, I literally started putting away $25 a paycheck because I could miss $25. I said to myself, I could miss that amount of money. Then I increased it to $50. Then I increased it to $75. And as I began to put away more and more smaller increments, my husband and I also had to discipline ourselves to be able to continue to live on the same amounts of money that was coming in. And so as I received pay increases, I would put away a little bit more. And so I'm giving you this example because I want even the people my age or younger to know that it is possible to begin saving towards a particular goal. I give the example of retirement just because this is where I feel a lot of people who come to my office and a lot of people I contact, they just aren't prepared for it. And so you need to prepare early. But this is really a savings mechanism or an investment mechanism that you could use at any point for anything. Saving to buy a house, choosing to invest in the stock market. That's a little bit riskier because you can invest and lose, but it's going to come back. The market always rebounds. But my point is, how do you know what is the best place? Where is the best place to place the money that you have, especially if you feel that the income that you have is not great? You need someone to help you identify and strategically plan where's the best place to commit your funds. Is it to retirement? Is it to investment in real estate? Is it to paying off debt? Is it to saving up for college for your children? Where's the best place to put your funds? I typically work from the philosophy of putting your mask on first, just like when you get on an airplane and they say if you're on an airplane with children and there's an emergency, put your mask on first to protect yourself, and then you're in a position to protect someone else. That is my position in finance. Put your mask on first. So I am intentionally saving for retirement before anything else. Okay. And so what are some of the causes outside of saying I have a lack of funds? I think I've debunked that already. You have enough to start somewhere. Another cause that I see why people don't, or that I hear why individuals don't utilize professional advisors, is a lack of trust. That person doesn't know what they're talking about. How am I supposed to know that they know what they're doing? Why am I to trust them? And this is really simple. Why do you trust anyone? Why do you have friends? Why do you have family? Why do you trust anyone? It's because you've taken the time to build relationship with these individuals, and that relationship and that consistency with that individual tells you or informs your ability to trust them. So if you're looking for professionals and you don't have anyone in your sphere of influence, in your family, which I find that most of us don't. That's why everyone in the family contacts me. That's why everyone in my friend circle contacts me, and I have to refer them to other people because we don't have a lot of individuals of color in our sphere of influence who can really give us the information that we need. I would say go to professional organizations. I'm a member of the Baltimore Estate Planning Council. In every county, or in particular counties within the state state of Maryland, there's an estate planning council. There are estate planning councils within every state. There is a national organization for estate planners. There are estate planners, a professional network for estate planners of color. These are the things that you should Google. Okay, what you should Google are these professional organizations, what they do, who are the professionals who are affiliated with these organizations. Look at the accreditation of a professional. So yes, I am a lawyer, but you graduate from law school and you can literally practice any area of law within the jurisdiction that you're licensed, right? But what makes me an expert in estate planning? Well, I am also an accredited estate planner. That is a designation. I am working towards my designation to become a chartered advisor in philanthropy. I have one class left and we're done next month, and I'm excited about that. That's a sidebar. But those are designations that I've chosen to participate in, that I've done continuing education to get these designations, to be able to say to the public, hey, I really know what it is that I'm doing. I really know the work that I'm doing. So look for individuals who have designations. For financial planners, there are certified financial professionals. There are financial professionals that are certified in retirement planning. There are financial professionals that are certified in special needs planning. There are financial professionals that are certified in dozens of things. Look for individuals who have these educational backgrounds. And in addition to the educational background, you want to look for experience. I personally don't think that years of practice is enough. I have met a lot of individuals who've been practicing law and in estate planning for years that I've had difficulty having conversation with because they don't always know what they portray to know, or they don't keep up with continuing education and changes in the law. So while years of practice is a good identifier of experience, it doesn't always mean that they have the experience that you need. So I do think that it's a combination of years of practice, professional affiliation, and these designations. And then have discussions, interview, have conversations, ask them about the type of clients that they represent. There are a lot of professionals that say, well, I represent high net worth individuals. Ask them, what does that mean? Don't disqualify yourself from the conversation if you hear that term, because that term high net worth means different things in different circles. And so when you are researching and doing your study, this is where your study needs to be for the professional, not necessarily the substance, because I can tell you as a professional doing this work that there are tons of things that I don't know, that I have to continue to research with every situation, because tax law changes every year, that we have new legislation coming out. Estate planning law doesn't have the history of changing that frequently, but as society is changing, I am seeing over the course of the last 5 years that there are some significant changes that are occurring that I have to stay abreast of. So when you're researching, don't research the substance necessarily, research the professional that can help you get the understanding that you need. I love the fact that you have access to TurboTax and LegalZoom, and those who are in the real estate world love to do for sale by owners. I love the fact that individuals are empowered to take over and exercise their autonomy, but you don't know what you don't know. And so it is my plea to you to identify a professional using the criteria that I gave to you to help you walk through life, to help you plan for those critical events in life, and help you prepare for the events that you don't even know will happen. And so this is me on my soapbox once again saying seek professional services, and I hope that you can tune in next week. Remember to submit your questions to our sherryfleming.com/ Our Legacy Matters. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the Our Legacy Matters show. Connect with me, Attorney Sherry Fleming, at I Am Sherry Fleming on all social media platforms or at sherryfleming.com/Our Legacy Matters, or you can call us at 410-316-6800. Make sure you tune in next week for another discussion because our legacy matters.
Talk in the day. Soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.